Serghei, we are here with Mr. Serghei, a very known researcher, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
More than how many publications?
Around 100.
Oh my God, okay. And we'd like to welcome him in our family, Coach family, USV, and thank you for joining us and accepting, of course, our invitation.
Thank you.
So, to begin with, if it were to give a definition to research when you were at the beginning of your work, what would it be and how would you define research now after you published numerous articles and made the academic world richer?
Right. No, thank you. Sophia, thanks for having me. No, it's a good question. So like in terms of research, I think, I think it's about like the setup, the excitement. I think coming to the research, you should be excited about what you do. And then regardless, are you a PhD student just starting or like you're senior, like you should have that light in your eyes when you start. So you should really be interested in what you're doing and that stays the same. And if it does not stay the same, I think that's a problem, then you're not really excited about what you do. So I think this is kind of a privilege and excitement to be in the field you really like. And this is what I always say students, to make the best of the research, you should really, really like what you do. And you should be really, really excited because what you do, because then you don't kind of need to make a push. You will naturally work a lot.
Yeah.
You will push it very hard because you just like it. Like this is what you're passionate about. And I think finding that passion, I got lucky because I found what I like. And that research took me a while, took me some things to overcome, to learn certain things. For example, I didn't know how to plan the project. Or actually what is the hardest to finish the project. That idea of 90% is easy to do, but push that last 10% is really, really hard, and you need to know when to stop. So that's something what I learned, for example, how to wrap the project, how to manage the project, how to allocate resources, how to select people for the project, and to make a setup so the project is successful. It's according to the timeline. So I guess those probably the kind of the things I learned, and this is probably behind the success I have, that I know how to organize and manage the projects and kind of encourage and inspire people on the project so that the project goes well.
Yeah, of course. So I understand from what you're saying that researcher skills are not enough. You need more skills. You need passion, you need commitment, time.
Right, exactly. And I think it's like research skills, I think there is a big transition being a PhD student, let's say, or the junior, and then your PI when you're managing the thing. So as you said, as a PhD student, perhaps just knowing what you're doing in terms of research is enough, because you don't do anything else. You have been taken care of and other things.
Yeah.
But if you're managing the project, that's just one component.
Yes.
And there is so many other things to do. And I think it's challenging from one hand, but also rewarding. If you do it right, the project moves forward and you say, oh, well, I did it right, so things are moving forward.
Yeah, that's right. So to go on, how is innovation born? How do you think innovation is born? And what is your motivation that keeps you doing the good job?
Yeah, so I think, it's just again, the excitement and interest. You're just deeply interested in what you're doing, and you see opportunity that you can change the way we do medicine, the way we do biology, and for me, that's to bring computational research into the equation. That there are many things where better computational algorithms, so better data science practices can change how we treat patients, can change how we make decisions in the hospitals, or how we study biology and so on. So in that sense, I think being on that edge between biology, medicine, and computation, this is, I think, where the key is to the future discoveries and future precision medicine. And this is where I see innovation. So, and then I think interacting with people. And this is what COVID was challenging. I think it's fine to do Zoom and all this conference, but I think to get really innovative and get the traction, you should meet, like what we are doing now, face to face, and more or less have that informal maybe conversation, get the coffee together and then brainstorm that.
Yeah.
In that settings, you have all sorts of maybe sounds like crazy ideas, but some of them will be breakthrough. But you need to discuss it with people. You need to exchange, and you should challenge me. I tell you the idea, and you say, no, I don't buy it. Let me challenge you. And this is how it goes. And you challenge me and say, oh, I never thought about that, right? You're telling me, oh, that will not work in that setting. It's oh, that's right, I never thought about that. Let me think. And we keep doing that, daily, right? Brainstorming. So I think this is what...
So face-to-face interaction is really important.
No, it's absolutely needed.
What is the main reason you chose this particular domain and not something else?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I think this is why I see opportunities. where again, I think to me, I think we're seeing that already, but it will be more and more where how we do science and what computation plays a role in biological sciences and like immunology, medicine, and so on. Mm-hmm. So it's almost the field. I mean, the way we do stuff is challenged. Like things are changing, and to me, the opportunities in that data-driven centric world. This is what we are going for, where data will be so much essential to many decision making across the fields, but yet we don't know precisely how analyze the data. What is the best practices to do it? And it's all challenging. It's not just challenging kind of technically, which is hard because the data becomes larger and larger. It's immense, but also how to extract the signal and how to differentiate it from the noise. Like what is true, what is not. Because actually it's interesting to realize all the answers are in the data, but the question is, can we get it out, and can we get out a clean signal versus the noise? So that's the major challenge we're facing. But the data has everything. If you go in the hospital and you record, let's say, electronic health records, you know everything about the patients. Mm-hmm. But then there is issues when you record it. You might have missing data, the physicians are making mistakes, a lot of things, so which computation can overcome. So there's but we need to do a lot of work there. We need to develop better algorithms, better procedures, and so on. So this is why I see opportunity. Mm-hmm. So where my computational skills, because I'm trained as computer science person, and then I came to this field. And this is what I see I can make a difference. So I can do better bioinformatics, better algorithm, and that will make a difference and perhaps will contribute to the future precision medicine.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point of view. I never thought about it like from that perspective. How do you find the Coach USV, our project, a new center that is financed by the National Recovery and the Resilience Plan that comes to support the researchers and to promote research through young students?
No, I think it's excellent. I think this is what we need to do more, right? And I think I'm really glad, like here at this university, we are doing that, because this is how it happens. Again, like bringing people together with the same interest and giving them the framework and support, and this is where ideas will spark. When they're inspiring the young students and then giving them the framework to talk to the senior people and discuss it and then facilitate the project. So I think this is what kind of a common space where people can come, share ideas, brainstorm, form the teams, push the project, have some support, some framework. This is exactly where, and perhaps across the departments, because we define the fields, right? We define what is biology, what is medicine, but actually it's almost continuum, right? Many exciting things are right in between. So what we do about that, we don't have a framework so the people from biology to talk to computer science people and vice versa. Yeah. And we need space where people can be kind of safe and encouraged to go and talk. And that's okay not to know something, right? When you talk, say, hey, I know this is really well, but I don't know this. Oh, but I have that expertise. Mm-hmm. And this is how the group collaborations are happening, and this is how they become interdisciplinary. Yeah. And I think this is where the great science will be happening, because no longer you can just stay in biology and pursue that. Yeah. You should challenge yourself and go out of your expertise zone, learn something, talk to other scientists, which might be hard because you don't share common language. Yeah. But you should really do. So I think the center will give that framework to people, and this is where the kind of cool research will appear.
About what you said, what do you think we should do to encourage interdisciplinary?
I think this is what you're doing, right? First step, create the framework so people can talk and they get inspired. For example, you take the classes, in biology, and this is what you have been learning, and maybe you heard about computational biology, but you never interacted much. Yeah. So you want to talk to computational people. You want to talk to the people who are doing that. So you get
common ground.
Right, finding the common ground. Maybe eventually changing the curriculum, right? That will be great. It's obviously challenging, and then there is a lot of bureaucracy to overcome. But that's, I guess, needed where we should redefine curriculum, right? Again, no longer biology can be just biology. We should teach students about at least computational biology, right, or some bioinformatics. Yeah. It's an open question to what degree, right? To what degree biology people should code? To what degree they should be familiar with the data? What practical computational skill sets they should have? It's an open question, and how to teach that. Because you don't want to make them computational, you don't want to make them IT people, you don't. Yeah. But you want to empower them just with enough skills so maybe they can take advantage of the data sets being around and look themselves. because they know really well, like they have very good domain expertise which computer sciences don't have, right? But, so in other words, people stay in the domain, so how much out of domain they need to go, which is not necessarily comfortable because you're leaving your expertise zone.
Exactly.
You're leaving your expertise zone.
Here comes the next question. How do we encourage people to change? Because how you know it, change is really hard for most of people.
Right.
They are comfortable in the way.
Yeah, I think it's like explaining that in a sense, giving good examples, right? Like I think what we're doing now, we talk about that. So I think like, making those steps, making them at least aware that the great opportunities are in between the fields, and creating that sort of like safe environment where you can ask questions and there is no kind of stupid question and and this is how bioinformatics, I found this is kind of fascinating. This is how bioinformatics is. If you give a talk in bioinformatics, which includes both computational world and biology and medicine, and then in the room, perhaps there is no one which fully understands your talk. Because someone knows computational part really well, but struggles to understand biology, and vice versa. So then what happens is totally appropriate to first of all, as the speaker, I try to define every...
Common language.
Yes, exactly. But define every single concept, assuming that will be no single concept known by everyone, so it's better to define it. Yeah. But another thing, I think the environment is that you can ask any question. Like say, oh, I didn't get it. So there is no trivial questions in a sense. So like I think it's welcoming to ask any question. Say, hey, I know computation well, but I'm struggling to understand your application to this biological problem because I know less about that. So I think creating that sort of environment, which is partially the case for bioinformatics, I think it's a good idea because people are not afraid to ask questions and people are kind of comfortable to walk outside of the expertise zone so that like they learn something and they found the opportunity. So I think
this is how it should be.
Right. So I think the culture, right? Like what is the culture? Yeah. The culture is that it's okay to know something. That's okay not to know something.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not kind of ashamed of that. No, it's okay because you're learning something and you're expanding your domain. Yeah. So I think giving a support for that, like to expand the domain. And one thing to realize, let's say you will be expert in computation and let's say you applying to the immunology, so perhaps you will not become an expert in immunology. You still need some, this is coming to your question, like you still need the expert in immunology, but you need to know enough about immunology to talk to that person.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is kind of the setup I think is bringing the kind of interdisciplinary research and opportunities.
Yeah. How do you find the balance and the equilibrium between family life and the research life?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Hobbies.
Yeah. Right. So like the hobbies I do, we just talked before the interview, so I do a lot of hiking and this is why I live in California, so we have access to hikes. So I was excited to hike in Romania. And so I think for me is like, it helped me to have the kids. So it actually then it's easy split between when you work and with the kids. Where when you work, and then with the kids you're like just like having fun and like taking care of them and talk to them and play with them.
Separate.
Yeah, like in that sense, because academia and especially computational research, you're not like in the wet lab. It's not that you come to the wet lab, you do the stuff and you leave out.
Yeah.
In computation, you can do it anywhere, anytime. So that's hard. It's great, but from other hand, it's hard to define boundaries because you can work on the weekend, in the night, anytime. Because you just need to open your laptop and connect to the internet, which is great, but also very hard to push boundaries. So having the family actually was really kind of instrumental in that sense because it kind of naturally defines the boundaries. And then what happens?
So you're kind of a lucky man.
Yes, exactly. Like I have 3 kids, so in that sense, like keep me busy. But then it really kind of makes me push those boundaries. And then like you're with the kids, you do just something else. That's what matters. Just do something non-research related. Whatever it is, go for a hike, play with the kids, meet with the friends, whatever you like. Just allocate time there. And it will pay back when you come back next week. You're fresh, so you can do more things.
You're a better person.
Yeah, like basically you're boosting your productivity.
Yeah,
because otherwise, if you work all time, it just goes down, and you're not recovering, and you're burned.
Yes.
And this is what you don't want to happen to you.
Yeah, that's right. Please choose one favorite study or article that you published, and why. What are the main reasons that it's so dear to you?
Right. So I think one paper we published was in genome biology, my postdoc, which like in the lab. So it's about the synergy, it's called technology dictates algorithms.
Oh, please explain them in our language.
Yeah, so like it basically says that technology is changing the way we do computation. And it's interesting that it's not enough just to do good algorithms, like computational work. You should follow technology closely. Like for example, if you do sequencing, so you need to know a lot about how the sequencing machine works, maybe on the very kind of anecdotal level, right? Like you need to understand the machine goes like this, there is this reaction, this is what happened. So, but you need to be closely kind of paying attention to that, so, and then go back and change your code, basically, and talk again to the wet lab people, say how that works exactly, and then go back and change it. So you go back and forward. It seems, so we wrote the review about that, how the very fast change of technology have changed how we do how we write the code or how we develop the tools. And it seems that the tools which are the most kind of accommodating and aware of how the technology works are the best. Yeah. Because you cannot be just because this is what kind of one issue with the computational work, and specifically in mathematics, you like to live in abstraction. In other words, you go and say, oh, this is how machines works, and you never talk again to them, and you create your own model and live there. And this is really dangerous because you might kind of invent something which is not relevant to reality. So you should always check back with reality. Yeah. Do your algorithm, go back and check again how technology actually works, again and again, and do this kind of loop where you check it, go back to your code, change it, and so on. And this is what we wrote, and we kind of concluded that the tools which are the most relevant for biomedical research, biology, are the ones which accounts for all the aspects of the technological process. Oh. And the one which are living in the abstractions are perhaps not the best one. That's really and this is again highlighting interdisciplinary research. It's not enough sometimes just to do a good tool or good algorithm or good mathematical model. It's just not enough. You should incorporate all the details from the technology itself into your model. And be very, very aware and knowledgeable about the biology process.
You need a lot of time to research that.
Right, and then a lot of iterations. And again, coming to the question, going out of your expertise zone and talk to wet lab people or biologists and say, hey, actually, how does it work? And challenge yourself. Like you should understand something, and then go and challenge yourself. Say, hey, am I right?
Yeah, of course.
And you challenge me, and it's better. And then I learn it, and I know it better. So this is how it goes. So it's like iterative process.
I would like more researchers to think like you. That's my actually opinion. How do you find Romanian research compared to California, for example?
Right, that's a good question. So to me, the trajectory Romania is having is outstanding. Like the trajectory of kind of bringing research into education. I think this is what I see the most. I think this is perhaps the best what we can see in California, where research is so connected to educational process, where the university...
As it should be.
Yes, it should, exactly. And then what happens is, if you're the research-intensive university, like mine is, like University of Southern California, so I do research, and then I share those new findings with the students. Mm-hmm. And to me, this goes back to back. And if you're the faculty who does not do research, then perhaps what you teach might be outdating. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is what I guess I hope to see more in Romania, where bringing what you have found recently in the research and what you're excited about, bring that to the classroom. And I think allowing the system or encouraging that would be really beneficial, because then the students are learning about, like what we discussed, like how they know about computational biology. If there is some faculty doing research, being excited about computational biology, he or she can tell that in the classroom, and this is how the students are excited, because they hear from somebody doing cutting edge, like right now, like the most recent thing. So sharing that. So I think, what is happening in Romania, so I'm excited to be here and like share with students, and I think this is what we need to do more, right? Like bring experts and like grow local experts so that they can share the cutting edge with students, so the students have access and they can make decisions. Like some of them will say, no, I still like biology more. I'm not that excited about computational biology, but
now I know it for sure.
Exactly. But the point is that you did informative choice. You get that opportunity and you say, you know what, I'm not that excited for some reason. I'm excited more here. But having that opportunity to decide, I think that's the key. So I think to me that's what I see, kind of like research and education is really kind of connected.
Yeah.
Want to see it more.
That would be great.
Yeah.
What you're saying, it would be great. So, please give an advice to our young and senior researchers, or maybe students, researchers, who are interested in medicine, or I don't know, in research generally. But please talk to them.
Yeah. I think advice what we have talked. I think going out of, not be afraid to explore something new. And I think the world became so complex and research became so complex that you really need to go out of your expertise zones and learn something new. So this is what I did when I was like young researchers joining PhD program. So I did my bachelor in applied mathematics, and then I joined bioinformatics. So it was very, very hard because basically I was reading Wikipedia quite a bit, learning biology again and again and again, but that paid back. So I think not be afraid to learn something new, step out of your comfort zone, and find what you like. Like try different things, like try something and you will find something you like. And that's the most important, because then like research will come easier to you because you will just follow your passion. It will be easy to allocate time because you will not feel like working. Like this is what I feel. I just like what I do, and I suddenly realize, oh, actually I work a lot. But I don't feel that way. I not push myself to work. I just curious to explore things over and over again and find the new domains and find places where I can apply my expertise.
So, thanks a lot. To go on, the last question, but not the least.
Right.
What are your plans concerning Ștefan cel Mare University and the collaboration between us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think we have a big plans bringing kind of connecting computational research to medicine and thinking about this domain of computational medicine, computational biology. And we have 2 active projects going. So one about electronic health records and personal health records to see how collecting very detailed information from the patients can help us provide a better treatment or better, like setup for the choosing the drugs and so on. And another is about more computational about wastewater. Can we use wastewater to predict new pathogens, including new strains of COVID? So it's very research intensive kind of projects happening. So I think, but that will require that exactly what we have talked about, like interdisciplinary skill set. And I think having those projects being implemented will give good example to the faculty from university to see what it takes to implement interdisciplinary complex large project. And for young faculty and then the students and the more senior faculty to consider that domain, because they can see how the skill set they have can fit that big picture and big project. And again, encourage them, again, I think we're repeating that a lot, step out of the standard or like the expertise zone they have and come to the new domains and see and they realize perhaps, to connect and then realize, oh, this is great opportunities there. So I think so I think bringing that setup and providing the example and we will try our best to make it successful and show like that's how we can do science. And this is what it takes and this is what we think is a good setup for that.
One motto.
Sure. Okay, so
please.
Yeah.
Your life motto.
Yeah, like I think find kind of your passion. I think like this is what I say to students all the time, and then you don't need to work in a sense, right? Like if you find something you truly like and truly enjoy, then it doesn't feel like work. And then but it takes time to find it, right? It takes time, but it's good investment of time because the moment, and don't be afraid like to explore, right? Like find your passion, don't be afraid to explore and try things. And if they don't work out, that's a great, if you find something you don't like, consider that's a great outcome. Meaning because you will never regret it.
You learn something.
Yes, exactly. Because you say, oh, I always wanted to do computational research. But you were hesitant about that. So maybe 10 years later, you say, oh, no, maybe I should be trying. I mean, I should be doing that, but I don't. But if you try it and you don't like it, you say, that's it, I tried. So not liking something and then but trying is a great outcome because you narrow your focus. Say, I don't like that, but let me try this and that. And eventually you will find. So I think to me, that's what I truly believe, and this is what I tell students, how to kind of pursue careers and how to pursue the passion, because having passion is such a big component of being successful, and having kind of like what we talked about, work balance, all that stuff, it will be solved because you're passionate about something, so you're not burned. And then this is how you do a lot of things and be productive. So it's something which is deeply underlies, I guess, success. Being passionate and really enjoying what you do.
And on that positive note, I want to thank you a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It was a pleasure, and we want to see you more.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Thank you.